the Klan members were actually deputized as police officers. And now, not just in those two states, but also in other states around the country, particularly in the old Confederate states. And what they were doing was, just going on the attack. They were enforcing the prohibition rules against drinking, mostly black speakeasies, and they were enforcing the anti-integration or the segregation laws, or apartheid, here in the United States that lasted right up until the 1960s legally, and arguably in many ways continues to this day. ICE, and the whole reason why some of these Klan members actually, with a badge on, were wearing their hoods, and the reason why was so that they wouldn't be held accountable. It's just very simple. You wear a mask because what you're doing is wrong. You know it's wrong. And you do not want to be held accountable for the crimes you commit. We've had 2 people shot in Chicago so far, right? One of them is dead. 2 people shot by ICE. We'll probably never know who fired the gun because ICE isn't telling anybody in violation of the law. And these guys, there's no way to know their identities because they're so masked up. This is just, fundamentally wrong. And, there are 19 states that have passed laws forbidding people from wearing masks. I'm not talking about the couple states who tried to do this during COVID. I'm talking about most of these laws were either passed in the 1880s or in the 1950s. 2 periods of time when there were major pushbacks against the Klan here in the United States and at the state level across the country. And California, for example, has an 1872 ordinance that outlaws, quote, mask, false whiskers, or any personal disguise, whether complete or partial, when invading or escaping discovery, recognition, or identification, the commission of any public offense. And we talked yesterday about how under California state law, what ICE is doing without having judicial warrants, they don't have warrants signed by judges per the Fourth Amendment. And so, what they're doing, like, for example, when they attacked that office building in Chicago, the apartment building in Chicago, is kidnapping and assault and violence against property, vandalism. So under all of these state laws, these 19 state laws, or under most of them anyway, individual ICE members could be prosecuted for breaking the law. For breaking the law while wearing a mask. The most recent is California's No Secret Police Act. Scott Wiener, who was the principal author of this, said, as this authoritarian regime seeks to demolish our constitutional rights and engages in a straight-up terror campaign, California is meeting the Trump administration's secret police tactics with strength and defiance. He says no one wants masked officers roaming their communities and kidnapping people with impunity. And he says California will continue to stand up for the rule of law and for basic freedoms. So far, Gavin Newsom has chosen not to enforce the law. He's letting ICE agents in California get away with the state crime that they are now committing. None of them have been arrested. None of them have been charged with a crime. And they're continuing to do their Kavanaugh raids. It was Brett Kavanaugh who wrote the opinion in the shadow docket ruling that said that ICE can use racial profiling to go after people. And they, like I said, in Chicago, they've already shot 2 people, killing 1. So the question isn't whether ICE agents share the Klan's ideology. I'm sure some do. In fact, I suspect many do. I mean, their recruiting kind of leans in that direction, shall we say. But the question is instead whether our government has once again created a Klan-like system in which anonymous armed men can break into your home, detain you, abuse you, without ever being individually answerable under the law. The hood and the mask have always symbolized essentially the same thing in America. They mean that right-wing thugs can do whatever they want and walk away untouched, no matter how heinous their crimes. We're told that if we have nothing to hide, we have nothing to fear. But when armed officers of the law, of the government, hide their identities from the people they claim to serve, they're telling us exactly what to fear. History has already written the first draft of this story once before. We'd be fools to let it play out again.